Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the freaking Mariners.
The Mariners, baby!
The Mariners had us really sad, but we didn't want to start the podcast until something cool happened. And guess what? Palalalalanco
You mean
little threw a
Luongo?
little pachanga on Jackie Robinson Day. A pachanga is Spanish for party, and we were partying
So,
with a 3-run first inning dinger, and that
also,
really helped change the mood
that's true.
last week. Before
But
before I tell
also
you
it's
about us,
Palongo. It's
huh?
not it's Palongo. Get it right.
Oh, I have my own things. I can say what I want. This is America, freedom of speech. Um, before I get into us, it's time for the weekly win percentage update. The Mariners coming into today's game are a grand total of 6-10. That's good for a 37.5 win percentage. So that is about 16.5 off of 54. Not good.
Yeah, not great. Not great in the slightest. But why don't you tell the fans about us, Coach?
Why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for a guy that is easily excitable with first hitting homers, maybe you're looking for a guy like me, your boy Coach Red. You can find me on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Just lost it.
Like, subscribe,
Yeah,
hit the
like,
bell
subscribe, hit the
notification.
bell notifications, leave a comment or two. Sorry, I mean Mitch is in the middle of a battle right now. I got a little bit distracted.
He's having a great at bat, but let's get through the intros first.
If you're looking for a guy that apparently is more on point on intros for the first time in his career on this podcast, if you're looking for a guy like that, a real comeback story, if you
That's
will,
right.
it's Kane.
I'm everybody's favorite secondary. Yeah, I'm Kane. You can find me on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. Follow us. Do it, freaking do it.
What a battle by Mitch.
That's
First four
great.
guys getting on. All right, Kane, let's start off.
Not such a great week again. I mean, what
Bad week.
they won 2 games.
2 games out of 6 that week. You had the road trip to Toronto and then at home against the Cubs.
But
So
Cal Raleigh still owns Toronto.
well, we're not to that game just yet.
Actually, I believe that we are at that game.
No, we are not.
Yes, we are, because we hit a home run in the first game.
What was the score of that game? You're supposed to get the scores
5-2.
first.
5-2. Was not great offensively.
Did the Mariners win?
No.
Cal Raleigh had
not.
1 home run late. I believe JP also hit a homer in that game.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It was just frustrating, right? We were watching it while recording. Just the offense does not click until late with this team. It doesn't really start going until the 7th inning, and that's kind of the trend that they've set lately. Is pitching struggles through it all, and that was another Luis Castillo day. Gave up 4 through 4. Not great.
Pitch count was awfully high.
It was, I believe, they got him to like 90 something pitches in the 5th. And again, you need to get longevity out of your starters. Apparently, his stuff's not working. It's just not.
We'll talk about the other game. I didn't see it later in the week, but we'll talk about it a little bit more.
His stuff's not there. I think he's getting the lab and start tweaking a little the things here and there. Because going down, what would that been? 2-0 or 3-0 at that point? Or 0-3.
He's 0-3 at that point.
So he's 0-3, going off 2 really abysmal starts. You kind of hope that, hey, it's third start, kind of you got your bearings on you, go out there and shove. And it was a lot of also untimely, just flare at the ball type of hits
Yeah.
that were falling.
I believe
And
what they're like 7-hitter balls like in the other
Davis
batter's box, and he just slaps at it for a 2-run
Davis
single.
or Schneider, yeah, and then he popped it in that little in between second and right, and it just got away. So it was not a great game. After that, though,
Tuesday.
bullpen kind of held it down,
Yeah,
and then you have
bullpen's been pretty solid.
yeah, but 2 home runs on the day. Good for JP. Great for Cal because he owns Toronto still.
JP crushed that ball too. That ball was
Yes,
tanked.
yes, he did. So now we go to Tuesday. 5-3. Mariners lose again. Back-to-back game. I believe that's 3 in a row at this point.
Mariners
Um,
seemed to be they seemed more into that game like throughout. I felt better opportunities were abound in that game. But this was another one where George Kirby didn't get overly deep into that game either. I don't think he got through 5. And this was another thing where kind of the stuff was a little eluding him. Him playing, the game before against the Guardians, where high contact team, he pitches primarily in the zone. You were hoping with the Blue Jays scuffling a little bit. They didn't, and they kind of hit him around, and he didn't have a ton of strikeouts in this game.
3. But the plus side, so you don't walk anybody.
That's a common occurrence.
I get that's his MO, but it's been a little dicey with him trying to find the strike zone. I think a
It's been
lot of
more of
this.
him missing bats within the strike zone.
Right. And another thing that I've kind of noticed, right, with Kirby and Castillo is they don't really change their sequence. Right? It's fastball, 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 or in Kirby's case, right? It's throwing high and away to right-handed hitters, throwing 3 straight fastballs, and then throwing something that cuts down down and away. There's no trying to drop it in on the hands or dropping it low to their inside, low and inside, trying to get them to whiff. It's they're just gonna keep hucking fastballs, and if something's not working, they're gonna keep doing it that way. And that's what I've noticed. And that's the reason they're not getting deep into games because they can't put the batters away. They can get to an 0-2 count like that. Easy. First 2 pitches of the at bat could be strike, strike. And then it's that put away pitch that they cannot find this year. And it's getting really frustrating to see out of your starting pitching.
Do you want to know what's also really frustrating, probably for the Reds right now, is Frankie Montas is not out of the first inning. He just walked Cal Raleigh and pitched his 40th pitch in the first inning.
That's
Waha!
that's disgusting.
You want to know what was disgusting? Wednesday's day game. That Logan Gilbert, this was Ryan Divish that quoted Cal Raleigh. Logan Gilbert pitched his nuts off in that game.
Yeah, he did. Let's see. Let's get a little
Get the line action.
7 2/3 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 earned run off
And that
5 hits.
1 earned run was a mammo bomb by Vladdy Jr.
Yes, it was. It was. No, he pulled that deep into the left field stands.
Left center. That ball was tanked.
But the again, the Mariners took the lead in the 3rd inning. Out of
Luke Rayleigh bunt single against the shift. Let's go.
hell yeah, dude. Luke Rayleigh. I got.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Finish your breakdown.
They scored early. I don't remember how they scored.
JP knocked him in.
Yeah, I was in
my pick to click for the week.
Yeah, mine was Ty France.
Yep. But here's the thing. The game ends up going into extra innings. Munoz gets out of a bases loaded jam. Polanco going to the outfield, gloves it just enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Mariners started with the guy on second base, and Cal Raleigh had a 2-run tater totter right off the bat. Then they proceeded to score even more runs, which they did 2 things in this game. First of all, they finally scored 6 runs for the first time all year, which is not a fun thing to happen during game 13 of the season.
No. And also, again, Cal Raleigh owns Toronto
You could say that now.
every single time.
But also, the Mariners are undefeated in extra inning games. We just need to get to extra innings more often. I think that's the secret sauce.
I'm just getting tired of them scoring so late. It seems like they're a seventh, eighth, somewhat ninth inning team, and it's
They
like
get
you.
themselves into position to be dangerous. They just haven't capitalized on it. The chaos ball is not back. The clutch gene hasn't shown up just yet. So it's been tougher, but this was a fun game to watch. And then Stanek came in throwing cheddar cheese balls in that game to get the save. Then you get to Friday's game. Please hit me with that score. First game
Jeez.
against the Cubs on Apple TV. I will say this about Apple
Also,
TV.
we didn't
Apple
watch Friday's
TV's
game.
graphics are so awesome.
You're gonna have to recap this one because I didn't watch it because I
Oh,
wasn't gonna because I didn't want to turn on my TV and then just like turn around in my chair all night. So I didn't watch
that's what
it.
I'm doing right now. Watching Jonathan Class A's.
I know I'm trying to flip back, but it was 4-2 Mariners win. So you're coming off
Mariners,
back to back wins.
a little anticlimactic there, Class A. Let's start off with a question. Bryce Miller, the ace.
Oh, dude, that's back to back outings that Bryce Miller, and that is the one thing that I was very upset that I didn't see. I saw off of the ESPN app and off of Twitter. Bryce Miller, then again, dealt.
He was dealing, dude. Dontrell Willis was on the call, and Dontrell Willis was talking about how much fun that Bryce Miller seemed to be having. He was doing the spin after his finish, doing a little hezzy here and there. Uh, his fastball's tough to hit when he's putting in the right spots because of the
Movement.
revolutions he gets and a little bit of movement he gets. It's a tough pitch to hit, and he was extremely tough on Cubs hitters. And that was the other thing with the Mariners in this game. They scored runs early. When the Mariners can score some runs early, it's been better. And to also win these games, your starting pitchers and your bullpen has to come out and do their job, which they did in this game. You looked at Munoz came in, pitched a lot cleaner of an inning than the previous day in Toronto. And then Ryan Stanek came in, gave up a home run to Bush, the early season nemesis of the Mariners. Glad we don't have to play him anymore. We always have that one. Last year it was Manny Margot with the Rays. In other years, it's been a cast of characters, if you will. Kurt Calhoun comes to mind. Tony
Cole
Kemp.
Calhoun.
Yeah, that's
Cole
what I meant.
Calhoun.
He's
Yeah,
out of the
Tony
league
Kemp.
now. I did hear one of the best mean things that someone said to him in the stands. They said that he looked like he worked at a Les Schwab tire.
But
But it was a good game overall. Mariners scored
yeah,
some runs early, and they had a 3-run lead going into the ninth. Give up solo homers don't kill you.
yeah,
Multiple
exactly.
runs do.
But
So it was a good win there.
you had JP getting a hit in this game, Julio getting a hit in this game, Ty France getting two.
Yeah, Julio had a 2-run RBI.
Haney also hit the ball. Polanco's stick is coming alive.
It's heating up, and then
It is really like, and it's like I said last week. He's had a lot of hard hit contact just to somebody,
Yep.
like from the left and the right side. But now this is home run number 3 that he hit today, and it just looks like that stick is getting sweeter and sweeter every single game. All right,
Saturday's game, I'm going to be a little bit patchy on the recap because I was watching UFC 300, but I was catching it in the other room as
turned off the game. That I was not very happy.
What was the score in that game?
4-1 Mariners lose.
And the Mariners threatened quite a bit in that game. The first extra base hit that I don't know how to say his last name. The pitcher for the Cubs, guy from Japan,
Shota Amanga.
Yep. He had not given up a run and had not given up a extra base hit in his first 2 outings, and he did give up a run, but it wasn't earned in this game because of an error. But Luis Urias, first extra base hit off of him in the bigs. And that ball
Yep.
was tatered. And I was going back and forth to watch this game in between fights, and they had guys on the base pass pretty consistently. And Mitch Haniger
Yes.
was on all night. Mitch Haniger was on every time I'd walk in there. It would be a different inning, and Mitch Haniger standing at second base.
I will say with this team, the walks are going up.
That's
The walks
big.
are going up. They are striking out less and having way better at bats.
Mariners in the game right now already have 3 walks in the first inning. So
Yes.
you like to see it. But the other thing too is Dylan Moore was so close to putting 2 balls out of the ballpark in this
He
game.
rushed them too. He dropped his PCI in MLB The Show terms a hair. And
Well, the other thing is that Goldie was doing a breakdown on his first ball that was caught legitimately at the wall. There's wind that was coming in and knocked the ball back 7 feet, which it would have been a home run if there was no wind. So Cubs add some insurance late with another Bush home run. That's 2 games in a row. Wait till we get to Sunday, because guess what? He's going to hit another.
yeah.
But it was a game where you had said that you were kind of hyped to watch the game to start, and I go, "Oh, a guy with a 0 ERA that hasn't given up an extra base hit. Yeah, I bet the Mariners are going to do really great in this game."
And he has a sweeper. They can't hit the
And
sweeper.
they got traffic on. That was the most he
Yeah.
struggled, but they couldn't capitalize when they needed to. Then you get into
And
Sunday's
then
matchup.
that's the story of Sunday's game is they couldn't score with people with runners in scoring position. How many times did they have somebody on second and third in
A lot,
yesterday's game?
a
Too
lot.
many times to not capitalize.
And on Sunday, I was playing softball, so I missed really the whole game. And fun things abound in this game.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez, Louise, Papa
Luis
Cheese.
Castillo, Luis Castillo drops to 0-4 on the season. This is the one part where I did not see Luis Castillo throw a pitch on Sunday, but what I can tell you is the stuff seemed to be back a little bit more in this
Nine
game because he
strikeouts.
had 9 strikeouts. I
And
mean,
he
that
didn't walk a single person this time.
gave up a 2-run dinger to Bush. He gave up 3 runs, I believe. And
One was off of one was unearned.
yeah,
I know
so
that.
he picked it up a little bit in this game. And Polanco hits a homer, but let's talk about the negatives in this game. In the second inning, Dom Canzone makes a phenomenal catch while crashing into the wall and sprains his AC joint, where he had been our best power hitter so far on the year, and he had been cutting down the strikeouts quite a bit.
Yeah, he was
And
actually starting to have great at bats too.
yep, so that's a tough blow, but that'll lend its way to something we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But the crowning jewel on top, Julio comes in to pinch run and gets picked off at first to end the game.
Yep.
He had no comment after the game. So the vibes were at an all-time low.
Reports were very quiet in the clubhouse yesterday. Yes, Julio did not want to comment. It's
But what are
just
you gonna
tough.
do? Like, you're pissed. Like, you had opportunities to win the series in Saturday and Sunday's game. You've been playing
Mhm.
close enough ball. You just haven't been putting yourself over the top. What are you going to do? You're not happy. You're not going to be sitting there
Well,
chuckling it up with the guys. It's still early enough that you're not really jumping down guys' throats just yet, because it's just not time. And that's the thing that we have to look at, because I've seen so many things over the course of the last couple of weeks since the season started. And you're looking at what Suarez is doing with the Diamondbacks. You're looking at what Teo's doing with the Dodgers. You're looking at what Kelnick has done with the Braves.
but you also have to
And
look at the
you have to
talent that's
look
around
at a
them.
few things when you're talking about this. One, what was being asked of them as Mariners is a lot more pressure than what's being asked of them on their current teams right now.
And if you look at like Teoscar, for instance, right? He's one of the veterans on the team, but he's also got the likes of Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Will Smith, James
Max
Outman,
Muncy.
right? Max Muncy.
Yeah.
And then you go to Gino's situation where he's got a team full of young kids that are really, really good.
And then Jared Kelnick goes into probably one
A
of the
World
best
Series
starting
contender.
nines. But the other thing that I do have to caution, which is why, as frustrating as the Mariners have been, you got to look at sample size. Okay. Jared Kelnick last year did the same thing at the beginning of the year with more power for us. So
Yes.
there's going to be ebbs and flows that go along with this. So what we're going to do well, oh no, we got to do something else. Our picks to click. I would probably say the best uh, guy that clicked last week, it was probably a tie between Mitch Haniger just for his on base ability and Cal Raleigh for finally putting two out and continuing to dominate in the city of Toronto. So that puts us at Kane, you're sitting at 0-2 on your picks to click with your vote of Ty France. And JP did some things, but he just didn't do enough to be the pick to click. All right, Kane, who is your pick to click for this week?
I'm gonna go with Jorge Polanco this week.
You're already off
Yeah,
to a hot start. He's already got a
yeah.
freaking dinger.
As I said earlier, it just seems like his stick is starting to find its groove. And you know, great. What 2 days ago he put one over the fence, and today he put one over the fence. You're starting to see the power numbers kind of increase. He's getting the feel of hitting at T-Mobile Park. And yes, I know it's a half and half week, but with him getting more home games under his belt, I think this guy is just going to explode for this team. So, Coach, who's your pick to click this week?
My pick to click, I think it's going to be Julio. I think this is the week that he puts it together. It's been frustrating. He was given
Mm-hmm.
the day off, comes in and gets picked off. He's a guy that you could tell always is putting in the work. His success is not due to a lack of effort, but I think that the was a little humbling experience on Sunday. And I think that's really going to motivate him for this week. Great
Mm-hmm.
first at bat. I mean, it was full count, worked it. He started 0-2 and worked a walk out of it. And if he can stay within the zone, they were talking about it on the broadcast before we hopped on here. He in 15 games, he's got 21 strikeouts. Being able to stop chasing the ball out of the zone. And I think he needs to get back to where he was at the end of the year. I think that there's that precipice on doing damage with the ball right now because you're hurting to score runs. But the more hits that you have, the higher likelihood you have to then score runs. They don't have to go over the ballpark. You know, two doubles is the same as a solo dinger, right?
Right.
So when you look at this, I think Julio hopefully settles down a little bit this week and puts a lot more balls in play and hopefully gets his first homer
I also
of
want to see him a little bit better in the field. All this flailing that he's doing at balls this year is not very reassuring for a guy that we locked up because of his stick and his defense.
Yep.
The allowed home run the other week, the other night where he misread the ball and had to flail at it and caught it, having to run back on it. It's not something you want to see out of your superstar center fielder, perennial MVP candidate.
Correct.
So let's
All
hope he
right.
figures it out. Also, I want to give a big shout out and maybe this week, maybe be our honorary pick to click too. Josh Rojas, man. I mean, he has been not striking out.
I
He's
mean,
been
I would
walking.
say
He's
that
been
third
putting the
base has probably been one of your sneaky good offensive positions for this year. Your other one's right field because I don't think anyone expected Mitch Haniger to play in 15 of the first 16 games.
exactly. So
So no big ups, but we're gonna when things aren't going good, there's a multitude of ways that things can go. They continue to go bad. You can get some veteran leadership, or you can provide some spark by some moves that are made. With Dom Canzone getting the AC joint sprain, Mariners made a bold move in my mind on promoting Jonathan Clase. He got banged up a little bit in AAA, but he had a pretty strong spring. The only thing is he's sitting there with like 40 bats above AA, just what he's had so far this year. And when you looked at, you've already brought up Samad Taylor when Ty France went on the paternity list. You've got the likes of Cade Marlowe, whose power's coming back a little bit, and Cade Marlowe's got 10 stolen bases down in AAA this year. And then you throw also in Sam Haggerty, who's back on the field. So for him to get the jump over them, you have to think, because it's based off of what he can do defensively and what he can provide you on the base paths.
Yeah. I'm a little on the fence about it because there's we've talked about there are a couple names that are ahead of him. The thing with some of the other guys, like people are saying like, well, why didn't Ryan Bliss get called up or something? Well, Ryan Bliss plays second base and not outfield. The thing with Clase is you can see a complete hitter there, right? That is what he's been profiled as. And you're
More
looking around,
contact compared to power guy.
right? And then you're looking around the league at, let's say Boston, Baltimore.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Duran, if you will, just a speedy guy
Has sneaky power as well.
that
Like
has power at times, but a guy that
is
can just track anything down in the outfield too.
and get on base. And that's kind of like the big thing that I am very weary because he is a strikeout guy too. And that's something, as his team has said time and time again, they want to cut down on the strikeout. So hopefully getting him up into the bigs gets him that just.
Yeah, when you get to the big, that's really at the time.
I understand that,
on
but
cutting down those Ks.
different mindset type of deal, right? And that's really all baseball is you've teached it for a long time. That's why you're a coach.
Teached it.
Coached it, whatever.
Taught it.
But it's a mentality thing, and hopefully him getting up here, getting that chance. I mean, he put a good bat on the ball, I would say, at his first at bat. Yeah, he popped out to the right field, but it was a good first at bat for the
thing
guy,
that
for the kid.
Makes me a little nervous about this is Class A is still an emerging prospect, right? Ideally, you want him to play pretty regularly, and that's what you were excited to see, him taking that step up into AAA. And the one thing that you talked about a little bit is the usage of Luke Raley. And I think that when you look at a multitude of factors, you did not expect Mitch Haniger to start off the season hot and stay as healthy as he has. Dom Canzone was your biggest power guy there through the first 2 weeks, so you wanted to get him at bats especially, but Mitch was playing so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Garver, you wanted to get him started, so he was still eating up at bats at the DH spot. And then Julio, you wanted him to get right as well. So you have all those factors coming in. And I think that with this being said, Luke Raley's a professional. He's in his fourth year in the bigs. You expect him to get a little bit of extra playing time with this injury to Canzone. That kind of leads me to believe that you're going to probably see about a 50-50 split between those two guys, and Pepper and Demo against left-handed pitching. But when you look at that totality of it, the thing that concerns me, Caden Marlowe's come up and come down. Samad Taylor's come up and come down, right? Those guys have been, and same with Sam Haggerty. Those guys are a little bit more used to playing a role player role, where when Dom Canzone gets back, Jonathan Clase is not going to be with the big league ball club unless Luke Raley's totally toasted and you're sending him down, right? Canzone has a spot waiting for him when he comes back. So you're eventually going to have to put Class A back down in AAA.
Right. And MLB made such a big stink about him but it's also that he's like the 10th rated prospect in the Mariners organization right now.
Brian Wu was like the 12th rated prospect and came in after his first couple of outings and really locked stuff down. Everyone's talking about how promising he is. Prospect rankings are basically based on age, where you're at within the organization, and ultimate potential.
And Class A doesn't, he's 70 stolen bases. That's a lot. Right?
He profiles as a good 9-hitter in the MLB.
Right.
That could be a bench guy. That could be your late inning guy to get on base.
He doesn't give me as much hype as Jackson Holiday, right? But I'm just saying, who flew through the minors, right? Adley Rushman, type deals, right? Clase was a high profile guy when they got him. That's just how it is, right? And I think he's not Julio, right? Where Julio was younger and higher rated because of just that's who he
And the thing with the
his game.
Mariners right now is they've been killing the draft. So a lot of these guys, like the Cole Youngs, the Harry Fords, Colt Emersons, uh, Familia, or
Yeah.
Framello, all of these guys have realized success really early. And Class A being an international signing type guy, he's worked his way up through the system and a little bit older prospect, but the tools are there. This guy played at the future game at T-Mobile Park last year for the All-Star weekend
Yeah.
and played in center field. Didn't collect a hit in that game, but his speed's on profile, and that's why I think they made the move, because yes, you do have good speed with Cade Marlowe. Yes, you have that, but I think you have the top speed with this. And I think that you've seen this a lot, especially against the Mariners, with these speedy guys getting on, that ability to take second and get in the pitcher's head. I mean, George Kirby gave up a run because a guy was pestering him at second. It was an ill-advised call by Dave Sims saying, "Oh, he balked. He didn't step off the road." You can make a move to first where you don't step off the road. You have to go there. But it was the third time that they attempted that he stepped off the rubber, so that's why he got second base. It wasn't a balk. And then the next pitch is a single that scores the runner from second. So getting
Right.
guys into scoring position by using their wheels, I think that's where Class A really is a key piece on why he
And,
was brought up right now.
and who knows, right? This kid could just come out of nowhere and light it up, right? It's still, coming up to second AB in the next couple of innings. So it's still a while to determine how he's going to play as a pro. The indications are that he's going to be starting in left field for the next couple of games. They are going to get in his innings. Luke Rayleigh, you
Is
know,
also going to be getting some innings.
you would hope. And but I think Class A is going to take the priority list on that. And who knows? He's a switch hitter. I love me some switch hitters. So hopefully he can come out the gate tearing, and then it could be a kind of clear decision on where it needs to go for the rest of the season.
Yep.
When Canzone comes back, because if you have him heating, like being great, Luke Rayleigh's most likely either getting DFA'd or something. You know,
Traded, sent down to the minors, whatever it takes, right?
yeah,
Um, Next kind of idea on trying to augment this team a little bit, that's kind of what we're going for, creating that spark. A guy that's been pretty impactful since he's gotten to the Mariners is Ryan Bliss. And he had a hot spring, he had a hot fall, and I think he's just shy of batting 300. Another exciting thing there, the dude is 11 for 11 in stolen bases in AAA right now since the start of the
yeah,
season. The only
yeah.
issue I see, not a spot for him right now. Third base is your area that you have both guys hitting better than I anticipated. JP Crawford, you're not losing him. Polanco's starting to heat up. Ty France has been your most consistent hitter. And then you've got Garver, who's your DH, and that's what he's going to play, right? So there's not really a spot for Bliss in my mind unless an injury befalls the infield in some form or fashion.
Mhm.
And you touched on that earlier.
Yeah, like the thing with Ryan Bliss is the stick is there. And what I want to see, oh, Polanco just wanted number 2 on the night. Um thing that I see, I haven't watched much of Ryan Bliss, but just from how what's his name? Like or Shannon Dryer, she talks a
Shannon
lot
Dreyer,
about or Dryer talks a lot about it. Who's the other guy that I follow? Usually
Ryan Divish.
yeah, I follow Divish a lot, and he's a Bliss guy. Um, the dude is great, and hey, if you're not feeling confident about third base at some point, right? My biggest question is, can he make the throw? I mean, we've got. I feel like we have
He
Three
started as
second basemen
he's
playing
a
third.
yeah, but he's also a second baseman slash shortstop. He's got a little play at short
Okay.
too. So
So I would like to see him get called up and given that chance this year because I think he's going to be really good at the major league level.
agreed. I just think that, and especially early in the season, I don't think that there's a feasible
Mhm.
place for him on
Not
this
unless
roster.
there's an injury.
Correct.
So
The next thing that I want to talk about is I know that I've joked about Zebi Zavala a few times, but Zebi Zavala might be, through 3 games that he has played in, the worst Mariner that I've ever seen. This is a defensive first catcher that has not thrown a runner out, has had a few overthrows, and he is batting over on the year.
yes,
So my thing is there were opportunities to upgrade a little bit better at the backup catcher position.
my thing is bring Blake Hunt up.
Blake Hunt's not doing anything in AAA.
They could be doing probably more than Zabby Zavala.
Oh, it's Mitch, bitch.
Did he really? I am behind you. First pitch? No.
No, two run Tay Tay, baby. What's
Oh,
up?
this is what this team needs, man.
The Mariners are
Uh,
already up 5 runs in the third inning. No, but what I'm thinking is your guys that you have in AAA are not exciting at the catcher position. And then your most exciting guy, which I know because I see the clips of him hosing guys at second. I saw it all spring training against big league type talent.
and not to
Bring up
mention
Harry
his
Ford.
WBC
Bring up Harry Ford.
chair. Yeah,
What
I
do you think
mean,
about that?
I don't think Harry Ford's going to be a catcher long term if they don't bring Cal back. Because I think
They haven't moved. If they wanted him to not be a catcher, he would still not. He would be at a different position right now.
yeah, well, I think if you come long term with Cal, because who knows after this season
No,
if
I'm
he
talking
sticks with
about
Scott Boras.
get Zebi Zavala out, bring Harry Ford up
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay.
What do you
Uh,
think?
I'm here for it. I think Harry Ford is going to perform at the major league level. He's faced MLB pitchers and succeeded against them. Like I like Harry Ford. He's athletic, he's quick. That's not something you see out of a catcher position. He's a fast dude. Is Frankie Montas getting yacked in the third?
Yep.
Oh geez. All right. But I do love Harry Ford.
I think that it would be ludicrous for them to bring up Harry Ford. The main reason is because Cal's going to catch at
Every
minimum
game.
4 games a week. So
Yeah.
you want Harry Ford to continue to get at bats because the average hasn't been there. Yes, he has his home run spurts. His on base is actually very good. He runs a very high walk rate, but the average isn't necessarily there for a hitter his profile, right? His
Right.
profile is a little bit higher on base, and I want to see that
You're like
average
a
tick up.
Pudge type
Yeah,
player.
he's got a high strikeout, high walk ratio. It's a weird combo to have, but he's got it. And I want
Yeah.
him to consistently get more at bats. So here's my other option. Go trade for a catcher, a backup catcher. Like there one of the guys that I'm going to mention here, I'm going to lead off with it. Joey Bart was a guy that was a former top prospect, gets picked up off the scrap heap from the Giants by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Granted, he's only played in 3 games, but he's sitting there batting 400 and he has 2 home runs on the year.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy that you had. I'm not sure how he profiles defensively. Let me start off with that. But taking a flyer and putting in a waiver claim and taking Joey Bart's contract, that should have been a no freaking brainer for this team.
Yeah.
But now you might, if you were to try to trade for him, you're gonna have to give up a prospect for him.
Yeah, most likely. And that's just kind of how things run in the MLB. But there's not really that many decent like backup catchers. I feel like if you
Oh,
were to
do you
get
want me to?
one,
Do you want me to give you 2 more?
I mean, if you want, you could
The
look
first
at
one's gonna pain me to say.
there's one in Toronto with Danny Jensen. I mean, he's
He's too
not
good.
that well, I'm aware that
I'm
him and
looking for a straight
Alejandro
up
Kirk.
backup in this instance. There is a guy that's out there that we have hated as
He
Mariners
did.
fans, and he's a defensive first catcher, and he's on a very terrible team right now, and his name is Martin Maldonado.
It's true.
And the prospect haul to go get him would be minimal. But if that's still a little too rich for your blood, I know of a guy that's sitting at AAA for the Yankees who is a fan favorite, and his name is Luis Torrens. Because at least I know that I've got some pop potential with him. His defense isn't as good as Zevi Zaval's, but guess what? Zevi Zaval's defense has been poor to me. But I also
Yeah.
found out another fun fact about Luis Torrens that you don't even know. Do you know what Luis Torrens' nickname is? Churro.
That's
Churro.
funny.
His nickname
That,
is Churro. That's
that's
freaking awesome.
that's
And
really funny.
I would love Luis Trent's back on this team because you've known like he had the big offensive output after going back down to AAA the one year. Next year, not so much. Bounced around, went off the team. They bring him back, but he has had some very clutch moments for the Mariners over the course of the last two seasons.
Yes.
And
Yes, he
he's a
has.
guy that we're familiar with, but I know what I'm getting out of Luis Trent's. I was expecting more defensively from Zebby Zavala, and I haven't seen
I
it.
mean, I just feel bad for Emerson that he's got to have Sevy as his catcher on the days that he
Basically,
pitch. Like, at least give him Cal one day. Like, and that could just be to some of,
I think
you
it was
know,
just due to scheduling on off days and travel days
yeah,
and
and I
that kind
get
of
it.
stuff.
I get it. But
But
yeah, Zevi Zavala is not good.
and the other thing, when you really look at a few other things with this team, I think the bullpen's holding up just fine. I think the guys that you've got out there, you're some guys have had to go up and down when you've lost Bolton and you lost uh, Snyder
Yeah.
due to injuries. Then you bring up
Digwas.
Dubois and Smith,
The
Tyler Smith.
I think so. Uh, I think this bullpen's just being held together by a single strand of tape until Matt Brash gets back.
Well,
Because Matt Brash is the guy to shut stuff down in the highest leverage
and Brash
situation.
is probably going on. I think I know for sure that Brash and possibly Santos is going on their rehab assignment starting next week, as early as next week. So that's cause for some things. And then when you look at the starting rotation, there's not really a lot you could do except for one thing.
Marco
And Emerson
Gonzalez.
Hancock back down. Woo. Oh no, it's Brash and Woo are about a week away from going to their
Yeah.
rehab assignment. There is a guy that we signed. His name is Dallas Keuchel, and he's been
Oh
looking pretty solid in
yeah.
AAA.
Yeah, give me that lefty action.
It would be
Dude,
good to have a lefty in the rotation too.
yeah, when they signed Dallas Keuchel, I stroked my beard and said, "Huh, I kind of like that."
It's a low risk insurance because he didn't want to bring back Tommy Malone
Hey,
anymore.
I have an idea. Go side Trevor Bauer for the league minimum. He said he'd pitch for it.
Do you want me to kick you off the podcast because Trevor Bauer will probably never play
I
Major
know
League
he
Baseball
won't.
again?
I know he won't.
And you're going to talk about an organization that no less than 3 years ago had big turmoil by what the owner said, their team president said at the Rotary meeting. It in a city like Seattle, if you bring Trevor Bauer here, you they're already telling you to sell the team because you won't go get players. If you get this player, they are going to exasperate that and ask for your head on a platter. Okay,
Hey,
not
it was
happening.
just a thought, all right?
Not happening.
All
But
right.
the Mariners,
Noted.
I know that we're going to talk about this next week, but the Mariners started off hot in this game. The offense is looking solid against Frankie Montas that has looked very good to start the year.
Yeah.
So hopefully this can be a turning of
Stepping
the
stone.
page, if you will.
Yeah. To
Uh,
the next chapter of this team's offense, honestly. Because what we've seen so far is, and like I've said before, your 1 through 5 hitters have not been doing anything this year, and your 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters have been your consistent damage dealers. Uh, It's not usually how you see teams formatted. Usually it's their 1 through 4 hitters that do everything.
I
And
don't think the Mariners are trying to format it that way.
well,
It's
right.
just happened.
I understand that. And it's just been one of the most unfortunate things to see, especially with the struggles that these teams had. But with the start like this, and I think they really need to hunker down and just have fun again. I mean, I said it last week on somebody's tweet. It's like they're not having fun once JP and Julio get it going. This team's gonna look 100% different.
Yeah, they're gonna turn it around 360 degrees. Just
Really.
kidding. That was a quote from Jason Kidd when he was drafted. He goes, "I'm gonna turn this organization around 360 degrees." He wanted a 180, but he went with 360. And you know what we want? You to give us follow over on social media. You can find me, your boy Coach Red, on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
You can find me over on Twitter at Kane2406, on YouTube at Kane06, TikTok Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. False. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.